This video covers AutoData System's newest product, NetE-nable. After completing this video, you will understand how NetE-nable works. You will see how easy it is to publish a form to the web that you have created in ExpertScan. You will know how to find your NetE-enabled form URL quickly and easily, and you will see how efficient it is to retrieve the data you collected with your online form. So what is NetE-nable exactly? Well, it's an add-on component to ExpertScan that gives you the power to collect data not only from paper forms, but also from web forms. With a few clicks, you can easily publish any form created in ExpertScan to the web for electronic data collection. So many of our current customers rave about how easy it is to use NetE-nable and publish their forms to the web. But real quick, let's just go over exactly how it works so that you understand the entire process. So the first thing you have to do is either create a new form or open an existing form in ExpertScan. Next, you step through a very short and intuitive wizard that helps you set some of the necessary options for your soon-to-be online form. Once this is finished, NetE-nable stores your form on what we call the NetE-nable server. This server is owned and operated by AutoData Systems to ensure that there is no additional hardware needed by you. This server assigns a URL address to your form and makes your form accessible to your desired participants over the internet. Once they fill out your form, the data is then stored on the NetE-nable server for the time being. Once you are ready, you tell NetE-nable to retrieve your data. Then automatically your data is downloaded into the Access database that ExpertScan creates for you. Once you have all the data that you need, you will be able to view the automatic reports that ExpertScan creates from your paper and web forms. This picture may still look a little complicated, but remember that it includes the steps that NetE-nable takes to publish your form to the web. You really only have to take care of two things manually yourself. The first is stepping through the simple and short wizard in ExpertScan with NetE-nable, and the second is initiating the download to the Access database. Alright, so now let's actually step through the process of publishing a form to the web with NetE-nable. Here I have a course evaluation that we can use for our example. You can see that it has all kinds of field types, including check marks, handprints, and even some barcodes. To publish this form to the web, we go to the NetE-nable menu item and we click on the NetE-nable wizard. The NetE-nable wizard introduction box appears and informs you that this wizard is used to NetE-nable a form or update a form that is already NetE-nabled. Once we click Next on the intro screen, we begin the first step of 4 to NetE-nabling a form. The first step is to choose our beginning and end dates for our form. I will keep the beginning date as May 9th so that it is available immediately, and I will make the close date 1 month out. It's important to remember that you can retrieve data from the server anytime during this time span or 30 days past the close date. Once you click Next, Step 2 will ask if you would like to create an optional welcome message for your participants. To create one, you just click on the Edit button and another dialog box will appear for you to type your message in. Inside of this dialog box, you can change the font, color, size, type, and even its orientation on the page to help it match the rest of your form. I am just going to put a quick message in here to thank the participants for choosing to come to this URL and take this evaluation. After you are finished typing your message and formatting your message, you click OK and you are sent back to Step 2. A click of the Next button will take you to Step 3, which looks very similar to Step 2. But on this step you can specify, if you wish, a thank you message or a farewell message that will appear after your participants have finished filling out your form. I am going to create a simple message thanking the participants again and giving them some contact information. It's important to remember that both Step 2 and Step 3 are optional steps. You do not have to include a welcome message or a thank you message. These messages will appear before and after the actual form as separate pages on the web. Moving on to the last step, we are asked for an email address that should be contacted if there are any issues with the form. This could be your email address, a supervisor's email address, an assistant's email address, or the survey administrator's email address. Really, anybody's email address that needs to be contacted if there are issues with the form. Once we click Next, the Finish screen appears, and a click of the Finish button will NetE-nable our form by publishing it to the web. When NetE-nable is finished, a screen will pop up asking if you would like to view the form that you just published to the web. I'm going to click Yes so that we can see how it turned out. Your default internet browser should appear, and it should look something like this. You can see here the welcome message that we created, and once you click Next button, the actual form appears, and it is ready for input. I will just fill it out really quick and progress to the last page, which is the thank you screen we also created. Once we submit the data, we are finished filling out the form. While I am filling out this form, I do want to point out one thing inside the web browser, and that is the URL address for this form. You notice that it is very long, and in fact, it doesn't all fit in my URL box. It's important for you to know how to find your URL address so that you can distribute it to your participants through emails or through the NetE-nable mail merge feature, or if you want to post it on your website as an external link. Alright, so here's how you find your form's URL. When you have the form that's been published open, you go to the NetE-nable menu option and you click on NetE-nable Properties. The box that appears displays your URL for this form in blue, and clicking on it will open your default browser and display the NetE-nabled version. You can also click on the Copy URL button to copy the entire URL address to your clipboard, and then that can be pasted into an email or into an HTML document. The screen also displays the form's publish date, open date, and closing date. The last thing I want to go over is how easy it is to retrieve your data from the NetE-nable server. All you have to do is go to the NetE-nable menu and click on Check NetE-nable Server for Data. Once you click on this, a menu will appear, and by clicking Check Now, NetE-nable will look to see if you have any responses. If there are records, you will be asked if you would like to retrieve them now. By clicking Yes, the data is downloaded automatically, and you can see proof of this by clicking on one of the report buttons. And on the report I chose, you can see the results for two different records from the NetE-nabled form. And that is NetE-nable. There are a few more options and features, but I encourage you to purchase and or play around with NetE-nable to experience how easy it is to use. This completes our video on AutoData Systems NetE-nable. For more information, please feel free to contact us.